Long ago, farmers whispered of a striped predator slipping through the trees, striking under cover of night. It wasn't a wolf, a dog, or anything they'd seen before. It was the Tasmanian tiger, a silent hunter with jaws that could unhinge like a snake. They tried to wipe it out with bullets, traps, and bounties, but the legend never died. And if it somehow survived, would you know it was watching you until it was too late? The Tasmanian tiger, also called the thylacine, was a strange mix of dog and kangaroo. Native to Tasmania, mainland Australia, and New Guinea, it looked like a wolf, but walked like a marsupial. Both male and female thylacines had pouches, males for protecting their sensitive organs, and females for carrying young. Their striped backs, long snouts, and stiff tails made them stand out among other animals. Thylacines weighed up to 30 kilograms and measured about 1.5 meters from nose to tail. Powerful jaws could open extra wide, letting them grab prey and swallow small animals whole. Inside their mouths, sharp teeth tore meat, while molars crushed bones. Though built for strength, they moved with surprising grace, cruising on all fours with a slightly hunched walk. These hunters preferred night hours. Large eyes faced forward, giving them good depth perception in the dark. Sensitive ears could pick up the faintest rustle of leaves or the soft padding of hopping wallabies. Their silent steps and keen senses made them deadly in low light. In daylight, thylacines rested in hollow logs or thick brush. Their sandy coats blended with dry grass and fallen leaves, hiding them from both prey and danger. When young, joeys stayed in their mother's pouch for about 3 months before venturing out. Even adult thylacines often returned to their dens to sleep and stay safe. Despite their fearsome build, thylacines were shy around humans and tended to avoid camps and homesteads. They hunted alone or in pairs, unlike packs of wolves. Their breeding habits matched their marsupial roots. A female could have up to 4 pups each year, relying on her pouch until the young could follow her. Over tens of thousands of years, thylacines roamed eucalyptus forests, grasslands, and scrub. They played a key role in keeping certain small mammals in check, preventing overpopulation of wallabies and possums. Yet, they were never truly abundant, living at low densities across their range. By the time Europeans arrived, thylacines had survived ice ages and shifting climates, but their slow reproductive rate and secretive nature meant they never adapted well to rapid changes. Their unique anatomy and habits made them a marvel of evolution, an animal unlike any other on Earth, yet also one vulnerable to new threats that would soon push them toward disappearance. Thylacines earned their fearful nickname by hunting under the cover of darkness. Their main tactics were stealth and surprise. Moving quietly through underbrush, they kept low to the ground, avoiding broken twigs and dry leaves that might snap underfoot. When prey came close, thylacines froze, ears twitching, then burst forward in a swift, low leap. Their diet included wallabies, possums, small kangaroos, and birds. Scientists examining preserved stomachs and old hunting records found partially eaten bones and fur. Thylacines often ate their prey whole, swallowing smaller creatures in one gulp. When tackling larger wallabies, they used powerful jaws to hold the animal down, then tore off chunks of meat. Large forward-facing eyes let them see shapes in near darkness, while a reflective layer behind the retina, similar to cats, bounced light back through the eye, boosting night vision. Their hearing was equally sharp. Simple tests with skulls show long ear bones that carried sound efficiently, helping them locate hiding prey from yards away. Unlike wolves that chase in packs, thylacines hunted solo or in pairs. They relied on cunning rather than numbers. One would flush out prey toward its partner, who lay hidden and ready to strike. This two-person tactic increased success rates without alerting other animals. Their flexible spines and muscular shoulders powered sudden lunges. Thylacines could sprint short bursts up to 40 kilometers per hour, enough to close the gap with fast-moving wallabies. But they could not keep up with long chases. Instead, they ambushed, waiting patiently near waterholes or game trails at dusk, when thirsty wallabies came to drink. Farmers reported eerie screams echoing across fields at night, sounds thought to be thylacine calls. These high-pitched yelps added to their ghostly reputation. Livestock raiders feared climate driving them from deep forests into farmlands, making them bold hunters of sheep and poultry under moonlight. Stories of the Tasmanian tiger spread quickly among early settlers and explorers. In dusty journals, travelers wrote of unearthly cries heard after sunset, sounds they described as a mix between a dog's bark and a wolf's howl. One explorer claimed to hear a chorus of eerie calls echoing through foggy valleys, as if a pack of unknown beasts hunted together. Aboriginal people had known the thylacine for thousands of years, weaving it into dreamtime stories. They spoke of a creature that roamed beyond campfires, avoiding human eyes and moving like a whisper on the wind. These stories warned young hunters to stay close to waterholes at dusk, where thylacines were said to hunt. When settlers arrived, they rarely saw one by day, yet reports of missing sheep and torn carcasses at night grew frequent. Farmers shared stories of lanterns flickering in the distance, followed by the sound of stealthy footsteps on soft ground. Rumors blossomed. Some claimed thylacines hunted in small groups, while others swore they had seen glowing eyes staring from hollow trunks. Word of mouth fueled myths. Campfire stories spoke of giant thylacines measuring over 2 meters long, twice the size of real specimens. Ghost hunters followed unverified tracks through swamps and wooded ridges, convinced they would find a living thylacine. Sketches in local papers showed fearsome beasts with bared teeth, ready to leap at unsuspecting victims. Local newspapers delighted in sensational accounts. One front-page headline warned of midnight terror, reporting a farmer's wife who claimed a thylacine knocked on her hut door. Another article described a child saved by a farm dog from an attacking tiger, though no proof ever surfaced. These stories sold papers and deepened the island's darkest legends. Some settlers mixed thylacine lore with other dangers: snakes, wild dogs, and mysterious spirits. In remote shacks, families locked doors at sundown, carrying guns outside to scare off any prowling tiger. Entire communities developed superstitions about dangerous hunting grounds, believing thylacines marked their territory with tufts of fur or claw marks on trees. Despite its shy nature, the thylacine became a symbol of fear in the Tasmanian wilderness. Every rustle in tall grass hinted at a lurking predator. Each howl in the night reminded settlers of an unseen threat. Over time, these myths overshadowed the thylacine's real habits, painting it as a monstrous figure rather than a shy, struggling marsupial on the brink of disappearance. As European settlers cleared forests for sheep farms, conflicts with thylacines escalated. Wool production became Tasmania's economic backbone, and any animal blamed for killing sheep was branded an enemy. Government officials responded by offering bounties, a few shillings for each dead thylacine. Posters advertising these rewards appeared in town centers, promising easy money for a few pelt strips or carcass proofs. Farmers formed vigilante groups, patrolling properties with guns and traps. Conical steel traps snapped shut on any leg that entered, often crushing bones and causing slow, painful deaths. Hunters used blinkered hounds to chase thylacines into nets or corners. Some kills were quick, others left wounded animals to suffer alone in the bush. Bounty records show thousands of thylacines killed between the 1830s and early 1900s. Each reproduction rate of only 1 litter of 2 to 4 pups yearly was no match for weekly trap resets and night patrols. As thylacine numbers fell, farmers spread blame for lost lambs to keep collecting bounties, regardless of proof. Reports suggest many innocent animals were killed under suspicion. By the 1880s, thylacines had vanished from mainland Australia, surviving only on Tasmania. Yet the bounties continued. One farmer famously shot 16 in a single season, earning a tidy sum and local fame. Meanwhile, parks and reserves did little to protect the species. Tasmanian law did not outlaw killing thylacines until 1920, by which time populations were critically low. When the state finally banned hunting, it was too late. Conservationists argued over protecting a creature few had seen alive for decades. Official sanctuaries housed only a handful of captive thylacines. In 1936, the last known wild-born thylacine, named Benjamin, died in Hobart Zoo. His death marked the end of official records. Tragic irony followed. Money spent on hunting prizes outweighed funds for habitat protection. Shallow gullies where thylacines once hid had been turned into farmland. No corridors remained to connect isolated pockets of forest. The species had been squeezed out by human greed and fear. Human conflict turned a shy marsupial hunter into public enemy number one. Bounty hunts stamped out generations in a few decades. The Tasmanian tiger's disappearance stands as a painful reminder of how human economics and fear can wipe out an entire species, one stripe at a time. In the early 1800s, thylacines were still seen regularly across Tasmania's wilds. Settlers reported tracks near rivers and calls at dusk. By the 1870s, those reports grew rare. Forest clearing for farms and relentless hunting cut their numbers fast. In just a few decades, a creature once common became almost unseen. By 1910, thylacine sightings were counted on one hand. Farmers guarding sheep sometimes claimed to see a striped back slip between trees at twilight. But most of these reports went unverified. Cameras were scarce, and many sightings turned out to be wallabies or feral dogs. Still, hope lingered among locals who remembered the animal from childhood. The last confirmed thylacine died on September 7, 1936, at Hobart Zoo. Nicknamed Benjamin, he lived alone in a small, barred enclosure. Visitors watched him pace as keepers tried to feed his failing appetite. When he died of neglect and poor diet, newspaper headlines declared the species extinct. Benjamin's body was stuffed and placed in a museum, a lonely trophy of human failure. After Benjamin's death, stories continued. In the 1960s, a remote sheep station owner swore he saw a thylacine drinking at a creek under a full moon. He set up homemade tripwires and claimed to hear a low growl in the night. More reports emerged in the 1990s from hikers who found footprints in mud, long paw prints with distinct pads, yet none carried photos or clear tracks. DNA tests on collected hair showed only fox and dog. Despite modern cameras and drones, no solid proof has surfaced. A few grainy videos stirred excitement online, but experts dismissed them as hoaxes or misidentified wildlife. Yet the world remains fascinated by the thylacine's ghost. Every year, tour groups head into Tasmania's rainforests with hopes of a miracle sighting. The idea of a living thylacine haunts imaginations, even as scientific consensus says it's gone for good. Searching for a creature thought extinct is no easy task. Teams now use camera traps, motion-sensitive boxes with infrared flash, to capture images of any moving animal. In dense bushland, hundreds of these traps are scattered along game trails and waterholes. They record day and night, storing thousands of photos later checked by researchers. Digging deeper, scientists train sniffer dogs to detect thylacine DNA. These dogs learn to recognize scent for thylacine hair or scat mixed with soil. Handlers walk trial areas with dogs on leads, letting the animals sniff logs and leaf litter. When a dog alerts, teams collect samples for lab tests. So far, DNA analysis has matched only known species, but dogs have found old dens with hair and droppings hinting at vanished populations. Another tool is the acoustic sensor. Thylacines were believed to vocalize with harsh, repetitive yelps. Tiny microphones placed on trees record sounds for weeks. Computer programs then scan hours of audio, flagging calls that match a thylacine's vocal range. Most flagged sounds turn out to be wind, frogs, or feral dogs. Still, each unusual howl in the night sparks a fresh push into the bush. Expeditions often last weeks, moving camp to stay close to fresh thylacine reports. In 2017, a team spent 2 months in Tasmania's remote southwest. They laid out 200 camera traps and ran dogs over 1,000 kilometers of trails. No thylacine evidence appeared, but they discovered new populations of rare quolls and wallabies instead. Another group used drones equipped with thermal cameras to spot warm bodies at dawn. Flying low over swampy valleys, the drones scanned for animals the size of a thylacine. Although they spotted deer and wild pigs, no striped marsupial showed up. Dense canopy and rough terrain often block clear views, making drone searches tricky. If thylacines still walked Tasmania's forests, they would change things. As top predators, they would hunt wallabies, possums, and small birds. Prey populations might drop in areas where thylacines patrol at night. This could ripple through the food web. Fewer wallabies might let shrubs grow thick, changing plant communities and shelter for ground-dwelling animals. Farmers would face new threats. Sheep and poultry farms near bush edges would worry about nighttime raids. Even with modern fencing, a silent hunter could slip through gaps. Farmers might need to use guard dogs or electric fences, adding costs and labor. Livestock insurance premiums would probably rise, hitting small farms hardest. Tourists on night hikes might glimpse a striped silhouette and spread the word online, fueling both excitement and fear. Parks might set up more patrols and safety measures. Ecotourism could boom as visitors hope to spot the rare predator, bringing money to local communities. Yet, increased human presence in forests risks disturbing other wildlife and trampling sensitive habitats. Thylacines could also carry diseases. In today's world, viruses jump between species faster. A thylacine might pick up bovine or canine pathogens from livestock or feral dogs. Without natural immunity, an outbreak could kill many individuals quickly. Conversely, thylacines might harbor unknown parasites harmful to other animals or even humans. Wildlife managers would need strict health checks and quarantine zones to prevent disease spread. Road collisions pose another hazard. Busy highways cut through Tasmanian forests. A thylacine on the move could be struck by cars, leading to more conflicts with transportation authorities. Wildlife crossings and warning signs might help, but drivers often fail to slow down at night. Each roadkill would be a setback to a fragile population. Finally, thylacines might compete with dingoes on mainland Australia if reintroduced there. Both hunt similar prey and mark territory. Dingoes are already top predators, and extra competition could force thylacines into less ideal areas or provoke interspecies fights. Such encounters could harm both packs, destabilizing the balance between predators and prey. The idea of bringing back thylacines sounds magical, but the science is full of roadblocks. First, DNA from museum specimens is broken into tiny, damaged fragments. Repairing that code is like restoring a shredded book without knowing all the missing words. Even if scientists piece together a near-complete genome, errors in crucial genes could make the animal ill or non-viable. Next comes the egg cell problem. A thylacine egg would need a living relative's egg, likely a Tasmanian devil or quokka. Those eggs differ in size, proteins, and cell signals. Inserting a thylacine genome into such an egg risks failed embryo development. Surrogates must carry the embryo to term. Using a devil or quokka as a mother for a thylacine calf might cause complications like mismatched hormone levels or blocked birth canals. Gene editing tools like CRISPR offer hope to tweak living marsupial genomes bit by bit. But editing dozens of genes accurately remains far beyond current capabilities. Off-target edits could introduce cancer risks or deformities. Each embryo would need years of testing before attempting a real pregnancy, costing vast sums and thousands of animal trials. Beyond the lab, resurrecting predators raises ethical questions. Do we have the right to recreate a hunter we once drove to extinction? Torn from its place in time, a thylacine calf would face a world of fences, roads, and unfamiliar diseases. We might be condemning it to a life of stress and isolation, rather than giving it a fair chance in the open wilds. Ecologically, a revived predator could unleash chaos. Modern ecosystems lack the checks and balances that existed during the Pleistocene. A few thylacines might decimate small mammal populations before managers even realize the impact. Containing a predator requires constant monitoring, expensive enclosures, and legal restrictions, efforts that often fail for living endangered species today. Finally, de-extinction projects divert funds from protecting species teetering on the brink right now. Investing in habitat restoration, anti-poaching patrols, and community education yields proven results. Trying to resurrect a lost predator might end as a costly experiment that benefits no one, living or extinct. From the ghostly hunter once feared in silent forests to a human-driven demise that sent it into oblivion, The Tasmanian tiger still haunts our imaginations. Imagine facing one in a shadowy forest. Some creatures are best left lost. Instead of chasing legends and what-ifs, let's turn energy towards saving living animals at risk today. Support urgent, real conservation efforts, immediately protect habitats, and give endangered species the chance to survive in the world they still call home right now, before it's too late.